Imagine waking up from a trance and realizing that most people around you make decisions based on impulse, ego, and mental laziness, but you keep treating them all as if they were rational. This might seem noble, but it's actually destructive naivety, a fallacy. In just a few minutes, I'll show you the 7 fundamental laws of human stupidity created after decades of research on this phenomenon. This will completely change how you see the world. No matter where you go or which group you analyze, there's always a proportion of people who act completely irrationally, causing unnecessary damage to themselves and others, with no real benefit. And now, without delay, let's go to the first law. The first fundamental law of human stupidity is that there will always be more stupid people around you than you imagine. Look around any room you enter. Count the faces. Now prepare for a disturbing truth. No matter how intelligent, successful, or refined the group appears, a fixed percentage of these people will consistently make choices that defy explanation. Not occasionally. Not when they're having a bad day, consistently. This has no relation to wealth or social status. The research is clear and disturbing. Approximately 1 in 5 people operates with a decision-making process so fundamentally broken that their actions seem designed to create problems where none existed. They don't calculate risks versus benefits, don't learn from consequences. They move through the world like impulsive hurricanes, leaving destruction in consistent patterns. But here's what makes this law truly dangerous. Your brain refuses to accept this. You keep thinking they'll learn, they'll understand reason. Deep down, they want the same things I want. This is your first mistake. Your empathy, your assumption of basic rationality, becomes the weapon they unconsciously use against you. You've been operating under the illusion that everyone shares a basic mental architecture, that everyone weighs decisions, considers consequences, learns from their mistakes. In reality, you've been trying to play chess with people who are throwing the pieces at the wall, and when the pieces hit the wall. Notice what happens when you start recognizing this percentage. Note how they respond to logic with emotion, how they find solutions but with new problems, how they turn simple situations into complex disasters. The moment you accept that this percentage exists everywhere, unchanged by circumstance or intervention, you stop wasting energy trying to fix what was never broken, just fundamentally different. Stop taking their chaos personally. Stop believing that the right words, the right approach, the right incentives will somehow crack their code. And recognition is just the beginning. Understanding why they're more dangerous than malicious people will change everything about how you move through the world. The second law of human stupidity will shock you. Stupid people are infinitely more dangerous than bad people. A bad person wants your money, your car, your belongings. You can understand that, can prepare for it. There's a predictable pattern of cost versus benefit. But stupid people, they operate outside all known frameworks of motivation. The bad person calculates. They weigh risk against reward, have goals. Even if you disagree with their methods, you can negotiate with a bad person because they want something concrete, can predict their moves because their actions follow a strategic pattern. You may not like their strategy, but you can understand it. Stupid people destroy without strategy, without purpose, without even awareness of the destruction they're causing. They're not trying to gain anything from you. They're not trying to hurt you. They simply move through the world with such profound disregard for consequences that they leave devastation as a byproduct of their existence. You know someone or heard some story about a work colleague, from church or even from some course, who misses all deadlines and thus creates extra work for others and then still complains about the stress generated. Some dramatic family relative who brings up controversial topics without foundation, who doesn't accept different opinions and therefore makes everyone choose sides. This person brings conflict inside and then laments how family or friends have been distancing themselves. They don't connect cause and effect, live in a perpetual state of surprise about problems that seem to follow them wherever they go. In their minds, bad things simply happen to them. Other people are always overreacting. The world is inexplicably hostile to their innocent intentions. This creates a special kind of insanity for everyone around them. When someone hurts you deliberately, you can at least trust that they know they're hurting you, can respond appropriately. But when someone hurts you while genuinely believing they're being helpful, rational response becomes impossible. You find yourself in a maze where the rules keep changing, where good faith is met with chaos, where your attempt to solve problems creates new problems you couldn't have imagined. You start questioning your own sanity, your own judgment, your own ability to read situations. This is why intelligent people often suffer the greatest damage from stupid people. Intelligence becomes a liability when you're trying to find patterns in randomness, strategy in impulse, logic in mental static. But there's something even more insidious about how we respond to this type of destruction, and this reveals the most dangerous mistake intelligent people make when dealing with human stupidity. We reach the third law, and here's the mistake that destroys intelligent men. You believe your rationality will protect them, that your education, your experience, your analytical ability work as a shield against the chaos that stupid people create. You think that because you can see the problem coming, you can avoid or control it. This cognitive arrogance is your greatest vulnerability. You underestimate the destructive force of stupidity because you measure it by your own mental standards. It's like trying to calculate a tornado's trajectory using projectile physics. The laws that govern rational behavior simply don't apply. Watch how this works in practice. You enter a discussion with a stupid person prepared with facts, logic, solid arguments. You believe truth will prevail, that reason will find common ground, but it's like trying to put out a fire with an eyedropper. Your precise tools are useless against a force that operates through pure chaos. They're not trying to win the argument in the sense you understand. They're not weighing evidence or considering perspectives. They're simply existing in space, creating noise, generating confusion. While you try to build bridges of understanding, they're dynamiting the foundations of the conversation itself without realizing it. The tragedy is that the more intelligent you are, the more time you spend trying to find the logic behind their behavior. You develop elaborate theories about hidden motivations, unresolved traumas, poorly executed strategies. You humanize what is essentially a natural force, like trying to psychoanalyze an earthquake. This is the fatal trap. You treat stupidity as ignorance. Ignorance can be educated, corrected. Stupidity is a fundamental characteristic, fixed like a person's height. You don't teach someone born blind to see colors. And you don't train a stupid person to think rationally. Your mistake is believing that everyone shares your basic commitment to reality, to cause and effect, to learning through experience. You assume that if you just present the information the right way, at the right time with the right words, something will connect. This belief is simultaneously noble and devastatingly naive. The sixth law will transform your perspective. Stupid people are incredibly predictable, and you can use this to your advantage. Here's a truth few men discover. Stupid people are incredibly predictable when you stop trying to understand them and start simply observing them. Their patterns are so consistent you can use them as social leverage, not to hurt them, but to protect your own interests while navigating around them. Stupid people always choose the path that creates more drama with less benefit. Always. If there are 5 ways to solve a problem, they'll invariably choose the 6th one that nobody considered, because it obviously doesn't work. This predictability becomes your advantage when you learn to anticipate and position yourself properly. In any situation, you can predict what a stupid person will do by simply observing which choice would create more problems. They're drawn to chaos like a magnet. Can't help it. It's instinct. This means you can plan around them. If you're on a project with a stupid person, don't expect them to do their part competently. Instead, prepare alternatives, build redundancies, have contingency plans. While others get frustrated with the inevitable failure, you're prepared and can even come out looking heroic when you save the situation. In negotiations, stupid people often reveal more information than they should and ask for less than they could receive. They can't maintain strategy because they don't understand they're in a negotiation. For them, it's just a conversation where they want to be heard. You can use this need for attention to guide the conversation. They also have a compulsive need to prove they're right, even when clearly wrong. You can use this by asking questions that lead them to contradict themselves, not to humiliate them, but to reveal information they didn't intend to share. So you're saying that, followed by a slightly incorrect paraphrase, often makes them correct and reveal even more. Most useful is their need to blame others for problems they create. This means you can often avoid being held responsible by simply not being around when disaster strikes. Position yourself well, keep records of what you did, and let them face the consequences of what they created. Stupid people also have a deep fear of appearing ignorant. so they often agree with things they don't understand rather than ask questions. You can use this by being clear about expectations and responsibilities. When they agree to something they obviously didn't understand, you have coverage when things inevitably go wrong. But the most powerful pattern of all is their need for social approval. They'll do almost anything to avoid public embarrassment. This means you can often modify destructive behavior by simply creating situations where such behavior would be socially embarrassing. The key is never to use these observations to attack or humiliate. That would be descending to their level. Instead, you use this knowledge to navigate more efficiently, protect your interests, and occasionally even help them avoid the worst mistakes, not because you can fix them, but because a more stable environment benefits everyone. This approach transforms stupid people from obstacles into predictable variables you can calculate and work around. But there's an even higher level of mastery, where you completely transcend the need to manage or react to stupid people. The seventh and final law is about total transcendence. You reach a state where you no longer need to react to stupid people. There comes a moment in every man's life when he realizes he no longer needs to react, doesn't need to defend, explain, justify, or convince. He simply exists in a state where others' stupidity slides off him like rain on a rock. This doesn't happen overnight. It's the natural result of mastering the previous 6 laws until they become instinct. When you reach this state, something fundamental changes in how the world responds to you. Stupid people start avoiding you instinctively, not because you're hostile or aggressive, but because they detect something in your presence that makes them uncomfortable, your refusal to participate in the drama they naturally create. You develop what can only be described as an aura of untouchability. It's not arrogance. It's something deeper, a tranquility that comes from not needing to prove anything to anyone. When someone tries to drag you down, they find only emptiness. There's nowhere to grab, nothing to drag. You're simply not playing the game they're trying to force you to play. This immunity manifests in subtle but powerful ways. When stupid people make absurd statements in your presence, you feel no need to correct them. When they create unnecessary drama, you observe with the same neutrality you'd use to watch clouds forming. When they try to provoke you, they find only silence and a slight smile that suggests you know something they don't. And you do. You know that reacting is losing, that explaining is lowering yourself, that trying to convince is wasting energy that can be used for more important things. Your energy becomes too precious to be spent on people who can't process it properly. Others begin to notice this change in you. Intelligent people are drawn to your calm. They seek your presence because around you they can think more clearly, feel more centered. You become like a lighthouse. You don't need to do anything active to guide. Just remain firm and consistent. The paradox is that the less you react to stupidity, the more respect you gain even from stupid people themselves. They may not understand why, but they sense there's something different about you, something that makes them think twice before testing your limits. Your silence becomes more powerful than any argument you could present. This final state isn't coldness or indifference, it's wisdom in action. It's the deep understanding that your peace of mind is worth more than any temporary victory in meaningless arguments. It's choosing your battles not based on what you can win, but on what's worth fighting for. You stop measuring your day by the number of stupid people you encountered and start measuring it by the quality of peace you maintained. Stop counting the problems you solved for others and start valuing the problems you avoided for yourself. When you achieve this immunity, you realize the 7 laws aren't just tools for dealing with stupid people. They're the path to a superior way of existing in the world, a way where you're in control of your own experience, regardless of the chaos others create around you. You become unshakable, not because nothing can touch you, but because you've consciously chosen what deserves your attention. And stupid people definitely don't deserve it. Now you master the 7 fundamental laws of human stupidity. Click on the video appearing on your screen now to learn even more advanced techniques that will complete your evolution.